As I sit here in my chair, legs up on the coffee table, contemplating life, I can't help but think about all of the great philosophers that came before us, and all the countless hours they too spent thinking, questioning, searching for answers, deep in the far reaches of the mind and psyche. But I've got to say, what a fucking waste of time. Because in all of the hours spent philosophizing, writing books, convincing everyone that they had the answers to life, they didn't spend much time actually living it. At least, that's what it seems like to me. There's a phrase, it's called armchair enlightenment. It's used to describe people who sit back in their armchair, talk about all the wisdom that they've heard, but often have never actually lived. And I'm not saying that those philosophers were wrong. Maybe they were enlightened beings. I mean, they ended up being far more famous than I'll ever be. But it's the way that they spoke about life, the language that they used to capture it. It feels like they were just a coach on the sidelines, screaming at the players, telling them what to do, criticizing their every decision, frustrated, yelling at the same time, completely disconnected from the reality of what it means to play the game. Take these quotes, for example. The way to do is to be. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Man is condemned to be free. He who thinks great thoughts often makes great errors. Profound, sure, yeah, I'll give you that. But on any random day when you're driving to work and stuck in traffic or in the middle of an argument with a friend, what do you do with that? Armchair enlightenment still exists today, but I see a very different version of it. Because now the books and the quiet spaces to think, they've been replaced by screens. And the philosophers, they've been replaced by people scrolling the internet for snippets of wisdom, collecting books of quotes and passages, reading about the 5 best ways to be happy, watching self-help vlogs and regurgitating everything that they've heard, all the while believing somehow that they've also done the work. But yoga and every true spiritual path, it doesn't happen in the chair or on the internet. It happens outside of it, in life. So maybe the question isn't, what do you know? Maybe it's, how much are you actually living? I want to share with you 3 ways to get out of your chair and to live life more fully. One side note, this channel is my way of distilling the wisdom of the yoga tradition and trying to make it a little bit more practical and a little bit more modern. And that's not to take away from the authenticity or the depth of the teachings or to diminish it in any way. My goal is only to cast a net that's as wide as possible and to reach as many people as possible. So I'm going to note where in the yoga text I'm pulling inspiration from so that you can then take that and go a little bit deeper on your own. Let me know in the comments how you like that and if you want me to keep doing that in these videos. But anyway, let's get back to the video. Life isn't something to figure out. It's something to experience and something to experiment with. And at some point, we have to get into the lab and just start mixing things. Start trying to make sense of all of this, seeing how each element reacts, because all the time spent thinking, contemplating, wondering about what to do, it keeps us from actually doing it. I have this core memory of learning to ride a bike. I remember my dad explaining it all, showing me what to do, how to balance. I remember watching the way that his weight shifted from side to side as he pedaled, thinking that in that shifting of weight, there was some secret. But until you actually grab the handlebars, step over the frame and sit down and start pedaling, you haven't learned a single thing. And once you fall for the first time and then get back up, then it all starts to make sense. Life is an experiment. So stop trying to solve life and start living it. The process of life is the process of learning, and that path is not linear. If it feels linear, I'm sorry to break it to you, but I think that you haven't been on that path long enough. In the yoga teachings, there are constant reminders of this, that there are highs and lows, moments of clarity and moments of confusion, times when we feel in complete balance and control, and others where we're feeling completely dismantled. But something happens when you keep going anyway, when you break through that invisible wall, because on the other side of that wall is joy. For the past few years, I've been trying to get better at speaking Spanish. I have moments for sure where I feel really confident, but often those are followed by lulls. It can feel frustrating, overwhelming. Sometimes I feel, more often than not, like I'm going backwards. Pero entonces, en ese momento digo algo que estoy pensando y tiene sentido. But then there are moments I say something that I'm thinking and it makes sense. I communicated what I was feeling and I remember why it is that I'm doing it in the first place. Those glimpses of progress, that's where joy lives. We are always going to cycle between knowing a lot and knowing nothing. That joy is the reminder that we're still on the right path. So we have to look for those moments of joy. At the end of the day, this experiment of life is yours. Not to live selfishly, but to live authentically. Don't make choices just to please other people. Stop documenting your life simply to post it on the internet. If you do, your life is going to start to shape around other people's expectations of you. And you don't owe the world anything. Certainly not your perfection. You owe it your truth and nothing else, your authenticity. Because the moment that you stop caring what other people think and start living in alignment with what feels true to you, you begin to actually live. And in that process, you learn to connect with the real version of you. Not necessarily the version of you that everyone else sees, the one that you see, the one that deeply matters. And that version of you, that's yoga. So you don't need more quotes, you don't need more books, and you definitely don't need another guru on the internet telling you how to live your life. You just need to live it. So the next time you catch yourself scrolling through another piece of wisdom, pause, take a breath, look around, and ask yourself, am I reading about life? Or is there a moment here that I can go live it? If this message resonates with you, please hit subscribe and share it with someone who might need a reminder to step away from the feed, step away from the phone and back into their life. Because the real yoga, the real philosophy, it doesn't happen in a chair. It happens when you finally get up from it.